Hey Virgos, welcome and welcome back to the Honey Sea Star Tarot. So as promised, I wanted to do a separate read for the half moon in Leo, or the crescent moon in Leo here, because it's all about giving voice. And so I had to do it in a separate reading. But either way, before we get started, I just wanted to send my love to each and every one of you guys for all your love and support and all the ways you've lifted this channel up and helped it grow and become what it has become. To connect with each and every one of you guys has truly filled my bucket, and seriously, I cannot thank you guys enough. So I love you back. Let's get started and see what's ahead of us here. So the half moon in Leo is going to take place on October 24th. No pressure. We're coming up to Halloween. Share what your costume's going to be in the comments below if you feel brave enough. But I am dying to know. I love Halloween in that way, where we get to dress up and kind of take on a different character, but more importantly, enjoy each other and the celebration, like with each other. But so either way, this half moon in Leo, which is also a crescent moon, basically is about giving voice to our heart's deepest desires. It can carry us beyond ourselves, and basically deepen our hearts and give voice, like I say, to what's really yearning in our hearts. And it can very much be a turning point or a crossroads for that situation. It's a symbol of fertility as well as life, as well as death, but also most importantly, the ebb and tide of the changing seasons. It encourages us to step back from the spotlight, but most importantly, focus on our inner world. And especially with Leo, like I say, it's about zooming out and giving voice to what our heart truly wants. And it can be very, very passionate. It allows for change that can be basically very monumental, something that we hold very dear to us. It can bring out a lot of passion and vitality within us. And so at this point, what I see here coming into this this half moon in Leo is you could be feeling a bit of stagnation, or like you missed an opportunity, or you've lost focus. Kind of in a point of complacency as well. And so that doesn't surprise me where this coming into this, it might, like I say, it carries us beyond ourselves. As you can see, he's looking over here, he's looking out beyond. He's got 3 cups right by him, but he's looking at this 4th one here. And so it carries us beyond ourselves so that we're able to give voice to something deep in our hearts. And that's, like I say, the desire to leave something behind. It's about escaping or moving, but basically it's about travel. It's about strength. As you can see, again, both cards are looking forward, ahead of him, towards the unknown, towards the divine as well, and connecting with the divine. Now, meanwhile, both cards are not necessarily bad cards. Like I say, with the 4 cups, you've got 3 cups over here. And with the 7 of cups here, you've got 8 cups behind you. I can count, I swear. And so it's not necessarily that things are currently bad, but you may be in a point during this half moon where you're finding basically a search within, zooming out in what you're building, what you're working on. Basically focusing on our inner world and reflecting on the personal growth and the lessons that you've learned along this journey. And really, it kind of is a point where you may find that you're overburdened or overwhelmed or dealing with a lot of stress, or have been dealing with a lot of stress. This is about where you're looking at your heart's truest desires and callings, and finding that you've been kind of carrying a bit too much. Carrying a bit too much of attachments or the need for external validation. Especially with this half moon being in Leo, it's about it's time to release basically the ego-driven attachments, or like I say, the validations that you're needing from external forces that have caused you basically to be in this teeter-tottery kind of situation with the Ace of Cups. On one side, it's feelings of negativity or feeling drained, a lot of sadness, depression, but a lot of emotional aspects. Like I say, that tear on the heart, or that pull on the heart. And then on the other side, it's a new opportunity of positive energies, of joy and celebration, fertility, and new relationships. Taking that, taking those lessons learned from that personal growth, releasing that ego-driven attachment, the need to, that negativity attachment of what people think about you, and instead make space to prepare for new creative ventures, new relationships, new opportunities, and most importantly, new celebrations, new joy, new love. But it's basically about embracing the humility and finding strength in your vulnerability during this time as you prepare to create those new adventures. And with the Knight of Pentacles, this is all about laboring towards your goals, the diligence that it takes and perseverance that it takes to pursue long-term goals and not be strayed away from the path, not get distracted, not be overburdened down by, basically either falling into a point of stagnation or loss of focus. Actually I can see that too, reading it that way between these two. Sometimes what can happen is when we take on too much responsibility, it can lead to a loss of focus. It can lead to stagnation. Or two, if we're feeling overwhelmed, it can kind of put us into this point of, at least for me, analysis paralysis. Like you just, oh my goodness, thank you. I'm not going to read all those, but I thought it was a good hiccup to what I was saying. But it can lead us to a point where it's almost like stagnation of analysis paralysis. We're taking on, there's so much coming at us, we don't know what to process first, so we've got to think about it, and then there's temptations in there, there's desires that come in, there's options at hand, and it can lead us into a point of, again, analysis paralysis. But what Spirit is saying here is standing and finding strength in embracing the humility to zoom out, to step back from that stage, to, step back from that spotlight and focus on the inner world. Because again, as within, so without, as above, so below. To recognize and see and like everything at hand, everything that's coming at you, but also too, to see that ebb and that tide, to see the fertility within you, and most importantly, to open your ears and your heart to give voice to your heart's deepest desires, to give voice to what's calling in your heart at the deepest, whether it's, like I say, a release or a need to release of ego-driven attachments, but most importantly, to not be afraid to stand in your strength, in that vulnerability, so that you can create space and create space for new ventures, to embrace that transformation, and more importantly, by embracing that transformation, feel and experience the renewal of that transformation. It's about creating space for new beginnings so that you can continue to grow, so that you don't find yourself in a place where you're either in analysis, paralysis, or in a place where you're stagnant because you're bored, you're unstimulated. And so it's finding that balance of not doing too much or taking on too much, but also to balance and not necessarily doing too little, to challenge yourself, to remember that even the wind on a sapling helps make it grow strong and prepares it for the storms that come later down the road. And if that resonates, by all means, please like, share, subscribe. Or if you feel comfortable, put a heart, share your story in the comments below. Because really, truly, on this channel too, it's just as much about the Two of Cups here. It's just as much about harmony and balance in our relationships and lifting each other up in love and making sure that we know that not only is the Honey Sea Star a place of peace where you're supported, but it's a place of friendship. It's a place of building partnerships together along our journey in this life as we navigate life's changes. But that's really what Spirit is saying here during this time, is with the Knight of Wands, new adventures truly are going well, but it takes that action, it takes that excitement, that fearlessness, and this is the crossroads that you're at. Again, this is about letting go of those ego-driven attachments, stepping back from the spotlight to take focus on our inner world and put focus on reflection of personal growth and lessons learned, and applying those in our relationships going forward, making room for those partnerships going forward. And most importantly, really taking that new beginning, that growth, creating space for those new beginnings and growth. So, and utilizing that and acknowledging it as a powerful source and wisdom, or of wisdom and guidance rather, that allows us to navigate life's changes with grace and clarity. During this half moon, you're going to be at that crossroads where you'll be able to see clarity. You'll be able to seek that, or take advantage, I should say rather. I mean, free will is choice, right? Always take what resonates, leave the rest, but remember, your story is yours. But especially what I see in this is that by taking those lessons, that wisdom of personal growth, and also utilizing the power of the half moon, giving voice to our heart's deepest desires, allowing that powerful source of wisdom and guidance to allow us to navigate life's changes and challenges with grace and clarity, you'll find that peace that you seek, that balance and that harmony, not only in your relationships and in your partnerships, but in your beginnings of prosperity. I also see opportunities with this dependent upon, like I say, what you give voice to. This is a new beginning of prosperity that you will also very likely see financial gain with these types of aspects. What I see in this is this also ties into career relationships. And there will be an opportunity of something new that brings in good news, like I say, and it's because you're navigating life's changes through that grace and that clarity by taking advantage of this half moon in Leo. Now, like I say, this is all about stepping back from the spotlight. You're currently the star, right? But it's also about standing, thank you, in your spirituality, not giving in to temptations, but instead not being held back by restrictions, but instead following your inspiration, following that mental health, taking care of the self, especially during this Scorpionic season. At this point, we've entered into Scorpio, which is all about self-care. It's all about renewal, but it allows us during this time to tackle difficult things, especially when it comes to inward introspection and reflection, especially when it comes to embracing humility and finding strength in that vulnerability. And so what I see in this is really that Spirit is asking you to remember that hope, that inspiration, and that creativity, that visionary that you are, that, seek that spiritual guidance that you crave at this point. Know that you are loved unconditionally, but really, truly, by embracing that, now is the time to have that faith and keep that faith and keep that energy of the Page of Wands in your new projects, in your new adventures with enthusiasm, to resist those temptations, those restrictions, or not allow yourself to be held back by those restrictions. I also see in this, the idea of addictions or faithlessness and distrust, pessimism. And so it's about perspection, don't judge, or judge, it's fine. But either way, perspective, looking at life in a new light. Also, too, you could be giving way to those ego-driven attachments like addictions and temptations, resisting those. And through resisting those during this time, giving voice to something that's deep in your heart, that carries you beyond the self. Embracing that Page of Pentacles aspect and energy, gaining the new skills that you have, embracing good news, avoiding those temptations and that pessimism. But again, look at this. This is so crazy awesome. You've got 2 cards of good news sandwiching faithlessness. If that's not a test and a crossroads, I don't know what is. This is the time to remember to really reflect on the personal growth that you've made, but also to acknowledge the ebb and the tides, the lessons learned, and release the ego-driven attachments. Release the need for external validation, and to embrace yourself in the humility and find the strength in that vulnerability as the energy of the page. Not only of the wands that comes in with enthusiasm and takes action, has messengers coming in, but also to embrace the pentacle, or the Page of Pentacles, that basically has the energy of inspiration and diligence towards gaining new skills, wanting to gain new skills. But like I say, both of them are tied to messengers of good news, home, education, projects, and plans. And you really, truly are standing in your strength. What Spirit is saying is this is the path, the true path of standing in kindness on both sides here, standing in compassion, but embracing the good strength of the ego, not the ego-driven attachments or the need for external validation, but instead the harmony of vision, the triumph of choosing love over hate, the courage and the fortitude to seek the power and the powerful source of wisdom and guidance that allows us during this time of the crescent moon in Leo to navigate life's changes through Scorpio season with grace and clarity. And if that resonates, like I say, please like, share, subscribe. That way we can get this message out to as many Virgos as we can, but more importantly, help lift each other up along this journey, because it is a wonderful opportunity to give voice to what's deep in our hearts during this time. And with the Two of Swords, this is about duality. You know, some of us may be, again, this is about being at a crossroads or a turning point, and this is going to be a difficult difficult choice, I guess is how I would put it. It could also, too, during this half moon, now is really the time to embrace that vulnerability of difficult decisions, because, up until this point, you could have been feeling a stalemate. By making or standing in indecision, you could be basically headed towards a path of confusion. And instead, by letting go of that external validation, those ego-driven attachments, and most importantly, embracing those lessons learned, and that reflective time, taking that time to reflect on personal growth, step back from the spotlight and focus on your inner world. That's where you'll find clarity with balancing the scales with Libra energy, and balancing that shadow energy just as much as balancing it against the light that you hold within as well. And with the Page of Cups in reverse, this is all about basically looking at impulsiveness, naivety, there we go. Irresponsibility, or maybe even having unrealistic goals, feeling emotionally feeling emotionally unstable, or lack of creativity due to the fact that you've received so much bad news, before or in the past through the lessons learned, right? Crescents are one of transformation and renewal. I don't know why I can't talk all of a sudden. Anyway, but it's about creating space for new beginnings. And so sometimes if we've had unrealistic goals, if we look too far ahead to the future with expectation rather than acceptance and open-heartedness, that can lead to unrealistic goals, right? Being too idealistic in following the flow. It can also lead to disappointment or lack of creativity, especially with temptations or restrictions that you've been meeting. Now is the time to make peace with that. This is basically a fusion of healing and a fusion of internal balance that you'll be facing a choice on making, basically. Like I say, it's giving voice to something that's deep in our hearts that carry us beyond ourselves. This time during this crescent moon in Leo is about finding that internal balance with the heart, giving voice to the heart and embracing that Sagittarian energy, that fire, as well as that Leo energy and the Virgo energy. It's fun that we pop out on the King of Pentacles here. Wow, I am dyslexic right now. Anyway, but it's about that steady, that self-control. The temptations can make you feel all over the place, emotionally unstable. The King of Pentacles is all about bringing an emphasis back into the focus of security, something that's giving voice from deep in our hearts that allows us to receive powerful wisdom and guidance during this time through lessons learned that really allow us to navigate life's changes with grace and clarity. But also, too, this is about enterprising. This is about being dependable, being a provider. And for anything that was ego-driven, attachment-wise, it's about basically letting that tower fall, embracing change, embracing transformation through spiritual growth, and embracing the passion of self-love in your relationships, in the relationship with the self, but changing and flowing with the ebb and the tide and embracing that. Because what Spirit is really reminding you during this time is that it's a turning point, but karma is on your side. The good deeds that you've done in the past really will be mirrored back to you during this time. Spirit sees you. You know, I always love the saying, do good things even when people aren't watching, even when no one's watching, because the divine sees you. Energy sees you and feels you, because we are all energy. We are all beings of light. And that good fortune that you do, even without expectation, just because you're you, because you're being vulnerable, because you're finding strength in that vulnerability, choosing love, finding strength, and remembering that your life is your masterpiece, right? Destiny always changes. There's always a time of karma. Karma is scales, right? Karma can love you and karma can hate you, but it depends on you. It depends on what you show to the world, what you give to the world, what you give to yourself. And this is about creating space for new beginnings, for new growth. And this is about a time of stepping back from the spotlight to really focus and reflect on that, to set yourself up for success. And Spirit is really, really reassuring you during this point. This is your confirmation that this is a turning point where the wheel is turning in your favor. Good fortunes await you by releasing the ego-driven attachments and stepping into a place of strength in your vulnerability. Now, I do also want to go ahead and take a look at some spirit animal totems, see what additional guidance, some additional messages we can gain here in this reading here. And so, Spirit, help guide us through this crescent moon. And thank you. And Leo, that does not surprise me that the heron came out. Okay. So the heron is all about patience. This is about creating a place in nature's stillness to be renewed. I'm just saying, welcome to Scorpio season. I love it. Take time alone to find balance. Step confidently during this half moon toward your purpose. Patience will bring you rewards. And so if that resonates, like I say, by all means, put a heart, share your story in the comments below, but also to like, share, subscribe. That way we can help get this message out to as many Virgos and lift each other up, especially during this half moon in Leo, so that we can give voice to something that's deep in all of our hearts. Oh my goodness. So in the middle of the deck here, oh my goodness, it's about the humpback whale, which is a singer. Sing healing songs for the world. During this half moon, your inner navigation always guides you. Nothing can stop you or keep you from your goal. Align with your purpose and the power in your soul. I mean, this is 2 cards about your purpose. Somebody here very much has some graceful clarity like that they bring, and some wisdom that they bring to the world through all that they've learned in their life. And so again, if you feel comfortable, share your story, because who I'm reading for right now, what Spirit is saying is that you very much are a wise old soul, and you are a singer meant to bring inspiration, meant to gift people patience, meant to gift people balance, including yourself. But your purpose is very, very strong in this life. And then the snow leopard, it's all about self-reliance. You are strongly independent and often solitary. Integrity is important for your best outcome. Cloak yourself with invisibility and walk with the shamans. Especially during this time, you are very much fertile, especially with the changing of seasons, especially with change. And this is about, again, giving voice to something that's deep in your heart. And so now is the time to walk with the shamans. Use your intuition and let your life unfold in silent perfection and in silent beauty. So I did also want to go ahead and pull our major arcana for this time. For anyone that practices music therapy, you know, the heart, what I love about music is it's the universal language, right? It speaks to everyone through the heart. And so as you can see, this is a huge time and opportunity of transformation during this half moon in Leo. So what we pulled here is 2 A sharps. We've got a D, an E, a C, a G, and an A. So try playing around with those. As a reminder to drink plenty of water. That way you can cleanse when you realign your chakras, realign with spirit and the divine. But either way, I truly hope this message helps and it resonates with you here. And most importantly, helps you give voice to your deepest hearts, you know, your deepest desires of your heart during this crescent moon in Leo. Take care, love and light, and I'll see you in the next reading.